Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Fall Forum. I'm really glad that you're all here, and I'm really glad that we're talking about electricity because I think not only is it such an integral part of our state today, but I think it's a huge piece of what we need to be paying attention to for the future of our state. When we talk about electricity in Oklahoma, we generally hear four things. We want it to be safe, we want it to be reliable, we want it to be affordable, and more we hear people say we want it to be sustainable. I think we overlook the safety part. We assume that when we reach out for that light, that the power plant and all those wires and the electrician who put that switch in the wall, they've all done their jobs and it's going to be perfectly safe when we flip that switch. We take it for granted, but there's a lot of folks working to make sure that takes care of itself. We want it to be reliable. Right now, we're watching the response to Hurricane Harvey. And if you haven't seen the Oklahoma crews down there taking care of power, it's amazing. Those crews are amazing because fortunately or unfortunately, they do that a lot here in our state. We're very well practiced at taking care of recovery after storms. We keep our power reliable, and we assume that those crews are out there working. Our power is affordable. We have the cheapest electricity in the country. We don't pay attention to that very often. We all fuss at our electricity bills most of the time, but we have the cheapest electricity in the country, and I would tell you that's a huge economic development tool. The governor uses it, Department of Commerce uses it. Everybody that's involved in economic development in our state, when they reach out, we talk about the power of electricity and how cheap it is in this state. And the last part is sustainability. There's lots of different definitions of sustainability. People will think about it from a very narrow piece when they think about environmental aspects, and they want it to be sustainable and renewable. I have a broader take on what sustainability means. I think it's the long term, it's the look into the future. What is it going to look like for our state? 28% of our power last year came from renewables. Another 40% came from natural gas. Those are our resources. How do we take advantage of our resources as we look into the future of how we keep safe and reliable and affordable power? Okay. We need to be prepared for the next drought. Nuclear power plants use a ton of water to cool. Coal, a little bit less than that. Gas, less than that. Renewable, zero. Cooling water in our state, that's our third highest use of water in this state. Okay. How are we working right now to prepare for the next drought that we know is going to come? And how do we make sure that we're being smart around water? And how does that tie to that cooling water and all of those things around power? How are we prepared today? How are we going to be prepared tomorrow for electric vehicles? That's a huge piece of what's coming. They are cool. People are going to want electric vehicles. Are we ready for it? And we're not ready today, but there are folks right now, forward-thinking leaders in this state, who are sitting together to figure out how are we going to be ready in the future? Okay? It's not a crisis, it's an opportunity. Right? Drought is a crisis. Electric vehicles, that's an opportunity. But only if we think about it today and we think forward and we think together. Okay? I'm going to challenge you as leaders. Okay? Leaders from all walks across this state. If you're not paying attention to power in this state, all four of those aspects, if you're not asking good questions, and more importantly, if you're not listening to different opinions of how this state could and should move forward, I'm not sure that's leadership. Okay? You've got to be engaged on power and on lots of other different topics. You've got to ask questions. We have got to be willing to listen to people who don't always agree with us. We will learn more from people who disagree with us than we will sitting in a room full of yes men. Okay? We do that every single day in our office. We have to do that for the future of this state. So again, I'll welcome you to this forum. You have a tremendous agenda. You've got a lot of really smart people on that agenda. You need to ask them a lot of questions. I can say that because I'm not sitting in the room and I don't have to answer those questions. Ask them questions. Listen to the answers. Listen to each other in this conversation. Okay? And give a damn.